The big political story this evening, the crisis in Manipur has led to a no confidence motion being moved by the opposition against the Modi government. I'm Barkha Dutt here with the Mojo story. Our focus today continues to be on Manipur, but Manipur is now having a ripple effect here in the national capital. Here in Parliament, we are going to be seeing a no confidence motion, which is going to be moved against the Modi government. We don't know exactly when, but it has been moved by Congress leader Gaurav Gogoi. The Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla accepted the motion today. This after the opposition has been insisting that the Prime Minister be present inside Parliament while a discussion on Manipur takes place. The Home Minister Amit Shah offered to take part in an open debate, but the opposition is not relenting and it says that the Prime Minister must be present in the House. Now, a no confidence motion is a pretty extreme step to take. Given the way the numbers are stacked up, the government is in no danger. So why did the opposition take this extreme step? Let's go across now to our newsmaker today, Gaurav Gogoi, Member of Parliament from the Congress Party, the man who's moved this particular no confidence motion, is with us. Gaurav, it's good to see you after a long time. Let me start by asking you, what is the thought behind this no confidence motion? Why have you taken this extreme step, Gaurav?
Well, the situation is unprecedented and is extraordinary. And unfortunately, the Prime Minister continues to speak outside of Parliament and is trying to obfuscate the attention of the people of India by talking about all issues sundry, except for the real issue at heart, which is in Manipur. The Union Home Minister often states that he's willing to discuss and debate the issue, but his efforts in Manipur have resulted in naught. His peace committee, which was constituted of 51 members, has failed to even take off from the ground. And being from the Northeast and as an Indian citizen, I simply cannot understand why the Prime Minister, a person who is so visible in the past in the Northeast, a person who campaigns for his party even in an MCD election in Delhi, has chosen this time to ignore the state and the cries of the women. And only after close to 80 days, when the Chief Justice made a scathing observation, opened his speak to his mind, and that to make such an incomplete statement referring to one form of human rights violation, but at the same time ignoring others. The situation in Manipur remains volatile, and we have, as the India Alliance, no other option but to go for this. But our hope, Barkha, as you said yourself, we know the numbers are bleak, but what we hope to achieve is a message of peace and solidarity for the people of Manipur, a message that let us talk. We hope that the Prime Minister announces an alternative form of peace committee consultations, that the Prime Minister announce some form of relief and rehabilitation for the more than 55,000 people living in relief camps. More importantly, we hope that through the Parliament, we can tell the people of Northeast that we are sorry and the government no longer chooses to ignore them, but the government hears them. And that will be the moral victory for this vote of no confidence.
So you accept that the numbers are, of course, not the point of this, right? And the numbers are, of course, very clear. The BJP by itself is 303 seats. Even if you add up the fence sitters, and I call my fence sitters, I mean people who have often stayed neutral in any legislative business, the NDA is comfortably ahead. Is one of the aims of this no confidence motion, apart from expressing solidarity, as you said, with the people of Manipur, to compel the Prime Minister to speak? Is that the point of this no confidence motion?
Barkha, I'm from the Northeast, and I've seen how these insurgency movements and how the violence and terror can just escalate and expand exponentially overnight if left unchecked and untouched. And this is what has been going on. A conflict that was restricted to Manipur is now slowly and spreading to other parts of the Northeast, including Mizoram, where people from Manipur are being threatened to leave, including in Assam, where people from Mizoram are being threatened to leave. There are two communities who are standing eye to eye, who were living as brothers and sisters and neighbors earlier, but right now they have sophisticated AK-47, and the only thing that's preventing another outburst of violence is the army there. So what we have achieved is not stability. The region is still unstable, is still hostile, and therefore if we don't take extreme measures collectively as a polity, then we would fail our Northeast, we would imperil the national security. And surprisingly, for a party that speaks so high of nationalism, is choosing to preserve the image of Prime Minister and protect that instead of protecting the citizens of Manipur.
Let me ask you this. You know, do you how do you respond to the criticism from the BJP that the Home Minister was agreeable to a debate, that there was an all-party meeting called where the opposition did not send its tallest leaders, that the opposition is looking to score brownie points instead of really caring about the people of Manipur? How do you respond to this criticism?
Well, the Union Home Minister, as I said, has his efforts have failed. So what they're trying to do, and we've seen this, is an orchestrated campaign to turn Manipur into a regular law and order issue, an issue of a ministry or a department, whether that's the Ministry of Women and Child or whether that's the Ministry of Home Affairs. But we've seen in the past that the state chief minister N. Biren Singh, he talks about influx, he talks about narcotics, he talks about ethnic clashes. These are issues which are gone beyond the remit of the prime minister, of the home minister, and it is for the prime minister to step in. No other country, not even India in the past, has ever had a prime minister who chooses to visit the US, speak in the joint session of the US Congress, but refuses to meet his own party members, refuses to acknowledge that his own party members have been a union minister's house has been torched, an MLA has been brutally beaten, someone you've interviewed yourself. And these are people that the prime minister is ignoring. These are people from his own party. So it is high time that we realize that, we have to go beyond what the prime minister thinks of his own image. Right now, it is time to protect the integrity of Manipur and of India. And it's important that the parliament regains the trust, because if we don't regain the trust of the people of Manipur in the state, they will continue to take law into their own hands and matters will only worsen. What we have is only an interim peace and order. Weapons are still out at large. We don't want another bout of violence, and therefore it's high time the Prime Minister takes initiative, be bold, and sends a message of peace and solidarity.
Thank you for referencing the story we did on Vungzagin Valte, the BJP MLA who's been crippled by a mob attack and actually can barely speak. I met him at his residence, not even his residence, a small rented accommodation just yesterday, and it's horrible to see what he's going through. But here's my question. If the government were to send an all-party delegation to Manipur, would the opposition choose to be or agree to be part of that, or would the opposition keep insisting first that the Prime Minister takes part in a debate inside Parliament?
No, we've been saying for an all-party delegation from day one. We are happy. In fact, members of the different parties, including the BJP and the Congress, were camping in Delhi for a week in June, trying to meet the Prime Minister and apprise him of the situation. But for some reason, this Prime Minister chooses to ignore the policymakers and continues to support a Chief Minister who's played a key role and a pivotal role in why this conflict is not subsiding. It is unfortunate that for some political reason, for some concern regarding the image of the Prime Minister, it is the Northeast and Manipur whose interests have been sacrificed, the dignity of the people have been sacrificed, homes have been burned, churches have been vandalized, and people are living like refugees in their own country.
Now, in the last couple of minutes that we have with you, I want to ask you two questions. One, explain to our audience, why is it so important for the Prime Minister? Why is the opposition completely adamant about the fact that the Prime Minister must be in the House when a Manipur debate takes place?
In this government, it is the actions of the Prime Minister which holds the most weight. His words have a meaning that no words from a minister can match. It is the Prime Minister who leads the government and leads the nation in times of conflict. When it was COVID, it was this Prime Minister who put his face on every vaccine certificate. So why is this Prime Minister shying away from his responsibility? What is this political design that they are following in which they're supporting a Chief Minister, a Prime Minister who has been so visible, talking about all forms of social issues, whether that it's mission life or whether that it's for yoga, chooses to ignore human rights abuses that are going on day in and day out. And as I said, Cookies and Metes, they were at conflict with each other in the past. But for the last 23 years, For the last 2 decades, we have not seen this scale of violence that we are witnessing now in Manipur. This has the potential to explode into a much more volatile situation. The last time we saw this scale of violence was in 1998. That's more than 24 years ago. So what is this prime minister doing? Why does he not care that he has such a blemish on his record and the nation is suffering because of his indifference? This prime minister's actions and words mean a lot more. When the people repose their faith in the government, it's not government as an entity, but it's on this prime minister that people vote in the elections and have their faith on. And therefore, it is incumbent upon this prime minister to regain the faith and to appeal to the people to give up their arms and start a process of healing and dialogue.
Now, a united polity is very important right now because there's a national security dimension to this. There's Manipur's border with Myanmar, there's drug mafias, there's illegal infiltration, there's all of that as an added dimension. There's the army operating without the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, but literally holding the state together. Are you demanding president's rule, or is your demand something else?
We're absolutely demanding for president's rule because the people's faith in the administration has gone. You can have all the troops on the ground, but if you don't have the support of the local people, then our efforts of the troop will not yield in the success. And therefore, if you want to win against all forms of unorganized crime or organized insurgency, then you have to have the support of the people. You have to win the trust of the people. And that this is something that this government has failed. This government in the state has failed the Meiteis, the Kukis and Nagas. Everybody has lost someone. Everybody has suffered in the last 2 months when the internet was shut down. And therefore, it's necessary, if you really want a strong effort at peace, that the government must consider the option of imposing president's rule.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think the no confidence motion, the outcome of it is a preordained fact in terms of numbers. But I think if India's parliament can finally have a serious discussion on Manipur and the crisis in Manipur, that is something that we desperately need. That certainly the people of Manipur will want to hear. And as you've said, what happens in Manipur doesn't stay in Manipur. It has a ripple effect across the Northeast. Thank you very much, Gaurav. We look ahead to the debate in Parliament. Gaurav Gogoi moving that motion of no confidence today against the Modi government. Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.